Hello my fellow crafters. Today I am going to make some more earrings. These ones are going to be beach inspired to go along with the bracelets that I just got done making. I already have some made and I will be making quite a few more today. I'm just showing you some of the ones that are already done. I won't be making any more exactly like these, which is why I'm showing you these now to help give you some ideas of some of the things that you might want to do. I got some colorful ones, really dangly ones, and some that are sweet and petite, and some that are a little bit more unique with their colors, but they are made out of seashells. And this pair here, which I decided to mix and match an octopus and a starfish, along with some of those little pieces of abalone that I got from that bead haul not too long ago here. And here's some cute little dangles. And a little bundle of colorful seashell beads. So those are just a sample of some of the ones that I have already made. And now I'm going to make a few more that are going to be somewhat similar to these ones, but they're going to have their own unique character. To me, making jewelry like this is kind of almost like using my beads and wire for a palette, with the paint and the ink being the beads. That said, I'm going to use some really super colorful beads today and some more starfish, and these are some more of those beads that I got from that bead haul, and some more shells, but then I'm going to add some heart shells into it. I'll be using some of these colorful shelled beads, some more abalone, and then for my charms today I only have these 2 turtles and 2 starfish and 2 of the octopus. Of course I'll have my jump rings and my 2 different ear hooks that I like to use. I don't know if I'm going to use the chain today, but I pulled it out just in case. Rather have it ready to go than have to go pull it out and stop whatever it is I'm doing. And then I have some 20 gauge dead soft and some 24 gauge dead soft wire. This is for the really small hole beads, which I actually need to get those out. I forgot about those. I want to use some crystals. Okay, I'm actually glad that I forgot the crystals, which I'm going to be using these 2 today. And I'll be using some of these more unique colored freshwater pearl style beads. And then I'm going to use some of these mother of pearl as some middle pieces. For my tools, I'm going to be using my tweezer nose or my precision pliers, along with these precision pliers. And I'll be using my flesh cutters and my bail loop plier. If by some chance I do decide to use the chain, I am going to keep these junk pair of cutters beside me just in case. And now that I remembered these mother of pearl beads, I'm going to pull out some to use right off the bat so that I have them ready to go. And I'll pull out 2 sets of 2 just in case I want to mix and match or do a little something extra with them. So now I have to figure out exactly what I want to go with them. Now these are really thin and delicate looking, and I don't want to offset that too much with too much color or too much weight. So I think I'm gonna use some of these ones. Okay, so these are going to have a really nice delicate look to them. Actually, I do think I want some other crystals for those. You know, a little bit larger. And I think since these are square, I'll go with the square ones, make them really kind of stand out. I wonder, I think they'll go better with the purple anyhow. And let's see, for the pink one, I don't know if I'll go with the peach. The good thing about having a selection of beads and colors is you can mix and match a little bit easier. The downfall is sometimes it gives you too many options. I think I like that. It has a little extra color and flash like this one, but it doesn't overwhelm the pink. Now I'm going to preemptively get some jump rings about, because I know I'm going to be using a lot of them. So what I'm doing here is I'm straightening out the wire and somewhat work hardening it just a little bit, not a whole lot. I don't need it to be really work hardened. And first I'm going to set my first set of beads down onto them to get them started. I am working off the spool, and I'll flush cut that end right there, because even though I'm folding it down, I still don't want there to be any snaggy bits. I want it to be a nice clean end on that. And now I bring in these very fine little pliers here so that I can set it right up against the bead at the bottom and give it that 90-degree angle, and that'll leave just enough space for me to wrap it around without making it too tight or having to use too much. And then I'll give it a trim. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with these crystals here. I'm not putting these on the wire, I'm going to just put them straight onto jump rings. I don't want to run the risk of snapping them by wrapping them. And no, I did not mean for that to rhyme, but hey, it worked. And I goofed that one up already because I have to do a loop up top. So I'm going to bring that down and fold that down halfway. And then I'll bring in my bail loop pliers, and I'm going to use the second to smallest setting and set that down there on my wire and start to bring it around. And then I'm going to bring this arm around. And then I'll move it over to the side so I'm not overextending one wrist beyond the other or fighting against how I would naturally wrap things. And I'm using my pliers to wrap that to make sure it's a nice and clean wrap. And give that a nice snip. Made it a little too close. There we go. And then you want to tap that down just to make sure that it's fully into place. Bring your bead back up to the top there. Get that straightened out some. Put your pliers in there just like you did before and give it a 90-degree bend. We'll get the next one started before we finish that one up. So 90-degree bend. Bring in your bail loop. And I won't repeat this process again in this video. I'm just going to move on to making the earrings themselves. Now when I was making the beach bracelets, I was talking about how the number one reason why I was making the beach bracelets was because I'm doing a show, or I should say our family is doing a show in Ocean City, Maryland in April. So I want to have as many beach related things as possible. And I know that this year's in-style jewelry is big and bulky, but it turns out it's also beach related too, so it kind of works out for me. I had no intentions of making it that way, but apparently that's just how it works this year, which is fine. Now, unlike the bracelets that I did, where I had made a whole bunch of links and then put them together as different bracelets for each one, these ones here I am making them pair by pair for the earring. They are obviously all going to be a little bit different. I don't really do a whole lot of carbon copies when it comes to stuff like this, unless it's certain things like mushroom earrings or earrings that have some sort of animal on them, and then I'll make them somewhat similar, except for I might use different colored beads on them or something like that. It's not that I try to make absolutely everything different, it's just that it's more enjoyable to make something different if that's what comes to your mind than it is to just repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Plus the customers like the fact that, you know, each piece is a little bit different. It makes them feel like they got one of a kind thing. But at the same point, you don't have to pressure yourself to make a one of a kind piece absolutely every single time. Like I said, some of the jewelry I have is somewhat of a replica of another piece, but very few pieces are carbon copies. Most of them are kind of whatever I feel like doing at the moment. Or if I have something like a particular style of necklace that I'm running very low on, then I'll work on things like that. But it's not too consistent of a, you know, I have to make so many of these in this in particular color with this in particular setting or anything else like that. Now I do need to mention, while I don't do a whole lot of carbon copies, at the same point it is almost essential to a small business to have some items that are almost a cookie cutter carbon copy of each other, you know, to have that pattern down so you have things that you can just kind of not really put a whole lot of thought into or burn your thoughts out trying to come up with this one grand idea or anything. It's nice to just be able to kick out a few things that you need so that you have items on the table or on your displays, and maybe just change out the colors or the shape or the size of the items, and maybe not quite so much the whole design. I try to have a balance, as my brain does not handle redundancy. Like, I have to constantly be just full course. Alright, so there is pair number 1 of this evening. I am happy to have found a use for these in particular beads, because I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with them, but I think now I have a few more ideas, including maybe some bracelets for these. I really do like them. I'm glad that I forgot to get the crystals out and noticed them while I was getting the crystals out. That worked out very well. Okay, so for the next pair, it's going to be essentially the same setup except for I'm using different beads. Like I said, it's kind of a copy, but it's not a carbon copy. So I only had to put really thought into the size and the shape. Regardless, they're still not identical. They just had the same theme or same essential setup. And that helps to alleviate the mental gymnastics of trying to do something exactly 100% different from another piece, while still giving me the ability to have something that is its own piece. As you can tell, I really do like to work in almost a conveyor belt or type way, or systematic way. Like I'll bring all the pieces together and then put them together a lot of the times. Not all the times, but a lot of the times when I'm doing stuff like this. Now I don't know that I'm going to use all the beads that I pulled out today, but it's nice to have the option of those ready to go. It's kind of like I mentioned earlier with, this is kind of like my palette and my paintbrush. It's, you know, I'm getting out multiple colors and multiple brushes or markers, not so that I can use absolutely every single one, but just in case I decide to use one, it's already there and ready to go. And it gives me not only the freedom to work freely without having to stop and get things out, it also gives me the ability to look at all the different pieces laid out before me, my options before me, and go, well, okay, I do like that, I don't like that. Kind of like the whole thing with bracelets that I did the last time, where I got all the pieces together that I liked together and then pieced them from there. This is kind of the same thing, but it's just with the beads and charms and not the links that have the beads and charms attached already. So when I was pulling all these out, I wasn't thinking of any one particular earring. I didn't have a set thing in mind. I only had the seaside theme in mind. Like, it would be really nice if I could find more than one lighthouse charm, but that's all the more I have left. But then again, a lighthouse charm for these might be too heavy. And all my other seaside charms, well, I used a good portion of them when I did the bracelets, so I don't have a whole lot left. And the ones I do have left are a bit heavy for earrings. I really don't want to make something that's going to hurt the ears. And that's another thing too, with all the bracelets that I made the other day. I am using a few of the same beads, but most of the beads I'm using are a little bit different because I want to make sure that I'm only using things that are going to be light on the ears, because I want them to be comfortable. So they're not really going to truly match most of the bracelets I made. Maybe a couple, but not very many of them. And that's fine, because in all reality, I would say only about 1/10 of my customers seem to worry about whether or not they have a matching set of anything. I'm not saying there aren't any at all, and there might be more than 1/10. It's just only about 1/10 openly ask me. And I will say, you are going to have people that come into your tent that really aren't going to ask you anything if they can avoid it. Which, you'll have that. But of the ones that don't avoid asking me questions, I would say it's 1/10. See, I like how this one here, it goes from this cube bead that is very kind of rigid and has them sharp points or very clean cut edges. And then this one here is also a square, but it's more rounded off. So it's a softened version of this. And then we're going to soften it even more by bringing in that real light purple round shell bead at the bottom there. I think that works out quite nicely together. I tell you what, now that I've decided I have a good use for these double-holed shell beads, I'm going to have to keep an eye out for some more. Although this one, I guess, could double as a button. But honestly, I think it'd be maybe a bit thin for a useful button. And my goal before I start doing shows in April is to have the rest of this box of ear hooks finished, and the rest of this one. This one's going to be easy to finish because you don't get as many in this box as you do the other box. But that's besides the point. I still want to have both boxes done beforehand. We got one defective one. That's not too bad. Alright, there we go. I really am trying to set the bar higher for myself for this year with having something a little bit more playful and unique. And we've been invited to a few different art shows, and I want to make sure that I'm leaning more towards the art aspect of jewelry making than I am the craft aspect. And that's not to mean any offense to a more crafty style. It's just I want to have the ability to fit into both markets without really having to put a lot more effort into it. Like, I don't want to make a whole bunch of things for one show that I don't normally make. I'd kind of like to keep it at an even keel so that it flows naturally together and I'm not putting undue stress on myself. I don't want to go too far away from my style. I want to expand my style, I guess is the best way to put it. Alright, so there's our next pair. I'm trying to get this to hang how I want it to hang. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so now let's bring in something a little bit more colorful. See if we can get a 20 gauge wire down through those holes. These can be a little finicky sometimes. Very colorful and bright, and people love these things, but they don't always agree so much with me. I forgot to mention maybe bring in some nylon pliers for if you have to straighten wire, because for these you have to have the wire really straight if you're going to try to get them through there. That worked out surprisingly well. Okay, and for let's see, put a yellow one on top, walnut green on top of the other, and blue and I guess pink, or maybe I should do it like this. No, I think I like it like this. Now oftentimes I would bundle these colorful ones up together, but I'm not doing that this time because this is large enough that I don't want to overwhelm the earrings too much. Have to find that happy medium and that balance, and with them having 3 beads already, one that's larger, is that I don't want to add too much weight, because what seems like not a lot of weight in your hands is going to be a lot different on the ears. Your hands and your fingers have muscles and bones, whereas your earlobes only have a little bit of flesh, and that's about it. Oh, I shouldn't have made that ring there. I'm making some professional goof ups today. That's okay though, it's a numbers game, so, you know, as many numbers as I make, I'm bound to goof up once in a while. Sort of like that ear hook that was not viable to use. They make so many of them that you're bound to get a couple that aren't all that great. So how many of you guys vend at shows? About how many do you do each year? For us, we try to do at least 2 a month every month during show season. And then on a good month, or our summer months, we try to get 1 a week. And we'll usually only take maybe 1 weekend every other month off. Which it can be very exhausting at times. But at the same point, when the show season is short already, you can't really take a whole lot of time off, because once those shows are done, they're done. So it's kind of like our winter months are our time off from the shows. But it's also when we do a lot of our restocking. That way we can get ahead of it without having the pressure of trying to keep up with sales too. We can just kind of make whatever we want to make. And then while the shows are going, we have to make things that we're running low on. But I am looking forward to show season, just for the simple fact that it is nice to go out and do different things and meet different people. And I don't think I have any in particular show that I'm looking forward to the most this year. I think just after this winter and how hard this winter has been, I'm looking forward to getting out and getting to enjoy the different experiences, the different places, the different people. While it can be really time consuming and whatnot, it's equally rewarding to be able to have that freedom to just go to different places that you wouldn't normally go to. It's better to me. It's a lot better than punching a time clock and being at the same place every single day with the same people. And don't get me wrong, that is really, really good for some people. That's just what they like. That's how they operate the best. And you know what? That's fine. That is absolutely fine. It's just not, that's not me. That's not my personality at all. Honestly, I think the thing that I like the absolute least about show season is I am not by any means a morning person. I am the polar opposite of a morning person. Now, on a good note, though, a lot of the shows that we do, because they're overnight shows or weekend shows, they don't really start out first thing in the morning. I mean, you can if you want to, but a lot of them, like the tractor pulls and the snake hunts and the music festivals, because it's a all weekend long thing, they're a lot more laid back. Especially the music festivals. They're very laid back. You can kind of just do whatever you want whenever you want, and it's more of a gathering than it is a business venture. Oh, I did it again. Let's try this the third time. Third time's a charm, right? I'm really not goofing up on purpose. I swear I'm not. Let's try this one more time. Now that I got it in my head to do this, I should be okay to get it right. Look at that. I got it. Only took me 3 times to figure out what the heck I was doing. Now, as far as whether or not I prefer indoor shows over outdoor shows, I would have to say it depends on the time of year. If the weather is bad, like if it's really cold, I'm standing outside shivering, I want to do an indoor show. If it's super, super windy or rainy, like usually early spring and late fall, I want to do inside shows. Hands down, inside shows. I don't want my stuff blown all over the place. I don't want things destroyed, which mind you still happens in the summer. But summer's a little bit more predictable than spring or fall. So I do prefer to do indoor shows at that time of year. And then in the summer, I definitely prefer the outdoor shows, especially since they seem to be a little bit more lively. If you've never done shows before, I really do suggest starting with an indoor show. That way you don't have to worry about your tents or anything else like that. You can just have your table and start to learn how you like your setup and learn the process of selling before you go investing into a tent and all that, because tents can be really expensive. And I will say you can just go get a cheap tent, but you're definitely going to get what you pay for. We started our first year with a cheap tent, and we replaced it relatively quick with a better tent, a much better tent, and there is no going back for us. We will not go back to a cheap tent. We've had people say that they'd rather have a cheap tent, that way when they have to replace it, it's cheap to replace. Well, the downfall is you're going to replace it a heck of a lot more than you're going to replace a good tent. And that adds up very quickly, especially now that cheap tents are still really expensive for what they are. So like I said, if you're just starting out with doing shows, I very strongly suggest indoor shows, so you have less that you have to worry about. And then eventually work your way into the outdoor shows if you have the type of items that are okay outside. There are some things that you just don't want to really take outside, just in case, you know, like say if you make painted wine glasses, not really the best thing to have in an outdoor show. I have seen entire inventories completely destroyed by shows. And mind you, that can happen with other things besides glass. Definitely can. But more often than not, as long as you have something that can withstand some weather, you're going to be able to salvage at least some of your inventory. But if you have things that just cannot withstand weather and you lose everything, that is a massive loss, and it's hugely discouraging. Like I said, I have seen it happen. Outdoor shows can be a beast all their own. I really like those. I like those a lot. Alright, we have our rainbow colored shells in there. It's definitely something different. At the very least, something very colorful. This is great for both beach theme and tie-dye, like music festival theme, so I'm good on these ones. I might have to make a few more of those ones. Now, I think I should do some starfish. Now these little buggers are kind of hard with, see how that thread hole is right down there in the crevice of the arms? I'm gonna have to use seed beads or maybe some crystals to make a little bit of a difference there so that I can wrap them right. Oh, these ones will be too small for that. You know what? I might have some seed beads I can use for that. Okay, so it looks like I found another use for these seed beads here. And we'll go ahead and start placing these on there. And I think I'm going to make one straight piece with the turtle hanging from the bottom. Yep, that's I think what I'm going to do. Alright, so we'll do a seed bead and a silver bead. A seed bead. We'll see how that sits before I go any further. It sits quite nicely. The only thing is I need another one of these. Or a seed bead will go right through that. So even though I preemptively pulled out all those beads, I still didn't pull out quite enough. I'm definitely going to have to get some more turtle charms. Oops. Seed bead didn't want to stay in place. And yes, I know, size-wise, in comparison, the turtles are really small compared to them starfish. That's okay. We'll pretend they're hatchling turtles. And giant starfish. I have no idea how big starfish get. I can guarantee it's probably not nearly as big as turtles. But at the same point, there's massive amounts of the ocean that we have no idea what it lives in there. So you never know. There could be incredibly massive starfish compared to turtles. And that is honestly kind of scary. But there's a reason why I don't go in the water. And yes, I know that these are technically the wrong type of turtle. These are more of a land turtle than a sea turtle, but I think they still look adorable together. I'll say it's just a sea turtle in training. I think that since these are already long enough as they are, I'm not going to add a jump ring to that. I'll just put them straight on there. Yeah, I think that works out nicely like that. If nothing else, I hope that I am giving you inspiration to allow yourself to be free. Don't be rigid with what you're making. Really, truly enjoy it. Like I said, this is your palette. The jewelry is your canvas. Your beads and your charms, they're your markers, your crayons, your paint. Allow yourself to paint and color freely and enjoy yourself. And the more you allow yourself to openly, freely shine, the more that that's going to show through on your work and how much your enjoyment shows when you are at whatever event you're at, or when you are just giving them as gifts. You know, that's fine too. Just allow the art that you want to bring into the world to really shine. We're going to use starfish again, I think, and then the next one we'll do, maybe we'll do these first. And we'll bring in some of these. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Bring in some of the more I guess darker colors? Not darker colors. I don't know how to describe it. Here, we're going to bring in some of the more algae or seaweed type colors. The non-traditional seaside colors that you would think of, because I think they fit well with the octopus. And we'll hang 3 from there, I believe. And we need something for up top. I guess we don't. You know what? We're just going to let him do his thing. He's going to hold on to those pearls. And that's it. Yeah, I think that that's exactly what we're going to do now. I will need the 24 gauge wire for these little things because they do not have very large thread holes. Thread holes. I wonder if I should give them a little tiny bit of sparkle in there. I'm like just 1 each. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Just 1 each. Side. 1 each side. I have to admit, even though I am honestly absolutely terrified of deep water, even though I used to want to be a marine biologist. Long story. Anyhow, I'm actually having a lot of fun with this seaside jewelry. I really am. Like I said, I don't really think any of these earrings are going to 100% match any of the bracelets that I previously made. But I think that they're similar enough in style that if somebody finds a pair of earrings that they like or a bracelet that they like, they might be able to, even if it's not exactly the same, find the opposite, you know, whether it be the bracelet or the earrings, that would be a similar enough match. Or partner to. I am using the smaller thread hole for this wire. I should say I'm using the smallest setting on my bail loop pliers for the thin wire because it's so thin. I don't really want it to have a large loop because it's more likely to get miffed up. So it'll just give it a little bit more durability to keep its shape if I have it a smaller shape. There's less surface tension for it to kind of go haywire. Now I have to figure out if I want all of these to dangle from one jump ring or if I want to use multiple jump rings to let them dangle off of each other. Because if I have them on one jump ring, they'll look like that, and then if I have them hanging down from each other, they'll look more like this. I think I'll keep them up together. So we'll test it out once we get the jump rings out for them, or start putting them on the jump rings. No, I definitely don't want it like that. I think these colors here go perfectly with, say, a moody octopus. Not saying all octopus are moody, just saying one that is having a bad day, moody. Oop. Alright, so we have ourselves some octopus earrings with some darker colors. Something a little bit different from the usual with just a little tiny extra sparkle at the bottom. Alright. So now I think I'm just going to do one more pair for the evening. I just have to decide exactly what it is I want to do. I kind of want to use some of these. The big look is in this year, so these are probably one of the bigger things that I can use that's not going to be too heavy for the ears. And these green pieces here, honestly, when I got these on clearance, I really didn't like them, but I do actually, now that I've found a use for them, like them a little bit more. And I had intended on using them for this, but I don't see any pieces here that I want to hang from earrings that are consistent enough. I think it'd be better if I, maybe I can use that. Those two right there, that would probably work out. I'll use one of those on the top and the bottom of that. I don't know if I want to use anything else because I don't want it to be too long or too heavy. And I don't think I like those with that. Nope. I don't know for sure that I'm going to use these ones. I like that little extra color there, but at the same point, these are, I don't know. I don't know if I could safely wrap these ones. I guess I could test it and find out. am going to finish wrapping this one around first, or getting this ready to make sure that I can do it neatly without crushing that little metal ball in there, because it is hollow. And it's a very delicate filigree. Alright, that should work. Might have to use them for another pair, but I think I'd like the silver bead with this one for now. Like I said, I think this will be my last pair of earrings for today. As you can see, I made myself quite a stack of scrap wire there. Now these here, because of this crevice and trying to get that wrap, I always do the crevice wrap first, because this one here is a lot easier to do. This one here is a lot more difficult. So if I can just make the loop and then put the loop down, then I'm golden. And I'll show you what I mean. Now, normally I wouldn't cut the line already, but I kind of have to do what I need to do here, because I completed the filigree part first. I don't really have a choice, so I can just slide that off the end, I guess. Alright, so now that I have that eyelet made, I can slide it down and it's going to sit right in there, and I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get that wrapped and fight with that crevice. And then this side here, I can just wrap it the same way I normally would without any issues whatsoever, because it's not inwards, it's outwards. See, I like how the bright is leading into the dark, or the dark's leading into the light, however you want to look at it. But I like that contrast. I like that really elegant silver look and the clean, shiny white with this just really dark, contrasting green with a little tiny bit of sparkle. I like that mix. My Matt and I seem to be having a soft debate today. Okay, we'll use that one for something else. Alright, now this one here, the thread holes are large enough to go through the 20 gauge, but these little tiny crystals are definitely too small. So I will have to use the 24 gauge, which is another reason why I'm only using the 2 smaller beads, is because I don't want to put too much weight on the 24 gauge. The 24 gauge will hold up for what I'm using it for, but everything has its limits. So I really don't want to push those limits. You know what, I'm using a jump ring for that. You'll have to forgive me. I'm really not used to doing the links to each other on the earrings. I'm used to doing that for the bracelets, but not the earrings. And I think that's half of the reason why I keep messing up on that step. But that's okay, because that little jump ring will give it a little extra swing. Maybe a little extra allure to it. Okay, so there is our final pair of earrings for the day. Something that is nice and fluid and dangly with that real light filigree bead up top and the pearlized heart, and then that nice dark seaweed green or kelp green. I think they work out very well together, very complementing for each other, even though they're so contrasting. So we've gotten those heart ones done today, and our cute turtle and starfish combo. And we have our moody little octopi. And our colorful rainbow days. And these very elegant seashell dangles. Alright, well, I hope that this helped to inspire you to make some different unique pieces. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and happy crafting. Thank you for spending the time with me again, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye.